So I'm Olivia Mears, AvantGeek, and I make unconventional costumes and dresses. I've made dresses out of paper mache, armors out of aluminum cans. You might know me from my pizza dresses that I've made to look like tacos and pizza, Taco Belle and Pizzarella, and a couple of wrapping paper dresses that I make around the holidays. My full-time, I'm an executive assistant for a nonprofit. I do a little bit of marketing, accounting, graphic design, no costuming. That is my part-time, my own thing. I think it starts off with the source material, but it definitely becomes something different by the end because I like to put my own style and theme into it. And so I do a lot of redesigns, and I'll relate back to the source material, but I definitely try to make it my own in the end. I really like paper mache and foam because of how versatile it is, but recently I discovered liquid latex and how to use that in costumes, and that also keeps it really flexible and definitely prevents a lot of things from breaking while moving. And so I've been trying to use that more and more, and it's really fun to use. Definitely right in the middle when something's halfway finished and I can actually see the improvements I've been making on it, and I still have some more steps to go. And so my favorite part of a costume is definitely the construction. There's planning, which is pretty fun, but I also feel like I don't get very far if I just stay planning costumes. And then wearing it's fun too, but my favorite part is definitely constructing it. Mostly it's the character design more than the character itself. Sometimes there will be a character that I just really like so much that it doesn't matter what they're wearing, and then I might redesign it a little bit to fit more my style. But otherwise, I look at the design, the silhouette of different clothes, and that's what encourages me to make the costume. I have to have at least 10 or so costumes right now that are only halfway finished, and it's usually because something more exciting will come along that I want to finish for a convention that's coming up. And if something else has a sooner deadline, I'll switch to that and leave the other costumes behind to work on eventually. And a couple of them I try to be a little more ambitious about and end up getting in over my head, and I have to postpone until I get a little more skilled or figure out something to work. So yeah, that definitely happens. Oh yeah, I have a couple costumes that I plan on next month to bring out that I've had for probably about 3 years, and I've done this before, and it always feels really good when I finally finish it. And I know that I started this years ago and just didn't touch for so long. And so my plan is to try and finish as many of those as possible now that I have this skill set too. Now it helps that I have Patreon, so I'm setting up these deadlines for myself, and people can see these deadlines, so now I have to commit. I can't just be like, no one knows I was supposed to finish this. I can't do that, so I have to actually finish these now. Yeah, so it's kind of what I was just saying is that a lot of costumes just get pushed into the closet for years, and those I would consider ones that I started and failed to finish, or some of them will probably need to be like halfway rebuilt because they're just so bad, or something on them is done wrong and won't hold together. And so a lot of those I do consider temporary failures that I'm going to come back and fix. But there's been a couple of costumes that have just fallen apart completely, and I didn't really feel too passionately about to begin with, so I didn't really care to return and try and redo it. But I learned a lot in the process, so that counts for something. So every evening when I get home from work, so basically 4 hours each evening for the week. Sometimes the weekend I'll spend just on a costume. So anywhere from 20 to 30 hours. I know that's usually for just one costume. There's a few big armor builds and big paper dresses that I think also not knowing where I can put them for now, storage-wise, but also it's the bigger the project, the more intimidating it can be. And so there's definitely a few I still want to give a shot, but not quite sure if I'm ready yet. So I have a room that I use as a studio, and it has its own closet. So I do store a lot of it there, but I also try to sell and donate any of my older dresses that are not being used anymore. That helps clear some of the space, but my studio is definitely full of boxes full of costumes at the moment. So my favorite dress I've made is my drip dress made of paint and liquid latex. But my favorite character I think now has become Wonder Woman since I've redesigned it, and I love wearing that costume. The fabrics are so much fun, and also it still feels like I'm in armor, so that's really cool. Oh yes, I have so many costumes going on at one time. Right now I have 5 mannequins, and each of them have something on it that I'm working on. And only one of them is actually a finished piece. The rest all work in progress. That one I started months ago, so it's always a constant, assortment of half-finished costumes in here. Yes, the next one I'm probably going to redo start to finish is going to be Taco Belle, Belle with an E at the end, and I've gotten so many requests to bring it back out, so I'm going to probably do that for Halloween this year and maybe see about handing out tacos instead of candy. Yeah, so I'm AvantGeek, and that's AvantGeek on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and AvantGeek Art on Twitter.